Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com back with a Pittsburgh Steelers preview and prediction of their Week 18 regular season finale against the Baltimore Ravens. Pittsburgh coming into this game 8-7-1, Baltimore at 8-8. Both teams technically have a chance to make the playoffs, but both teams will have to win this game and need help along the way. Let's talk about what to watch for in this game. We'll start with the Ravens offense, and Tyler Huntley's going to start this one. No Lamar Jackson in this finale with the ankle sprain he's dealt with for about a month now. And so this will be the Steelers' first game ever against Huntley, who I got to give credit has done a nice job filling in for Lamar Jackson. I would say just broadly, the run game for Baltimore hasn't changed much with Huntley at quarterback. The passing game has changed a little bit, but the run game Huntley's a good athlete, not quite to the Jackson level, but not too far off, to be honest with you. And schematically, they haven't altered their scheme too much. They run a lot of pistol, a lot of power, quarterback power, bash. They pull a lot of their, guards and tight ends and, fullbacks when they had a fullback. Patrick Ricard's not going to play in this game, so that's a big loss for them. Nor will tight end Nick Boyle, but still overall, it's kind of a power counter kind of rushing attack. And so I think just being very disciplined with your eyes. If you're the Steelers linebackers, you're the edge guys, you're the defensive linemen. That's going to be priority number one is finding the football, finding where it's going to be at, and just having really good eye discipline, and that allow you to actually execute your job and play your run fit and be able to do your job, obviously. And so stopping the run, containing the run, as they did in the first meeting, will be important. This one, the Ravens' rushing attack it's been solid, but it's not as explosive, not nearly as explosive as it was. Obviously, when you lose, guys like Jackson and J.K. Dobbins before the year even began. I mean, last year they had 31 runs of 20 plus yards. This year they got about 10, and so they really have not had the explosive run game that they're so accustomed to. And so obviously Pittsburgh's run defense has not been great. It was better last week. It was better again in that Week 12 meeting, and it'll have to be good again. The additions, obviously, of Schobert and Bush and Wormley and all those guys will be a welcome sight, but that is not guaranteed success, obviously, with this group this season. With the passing game, the two main threats to watch out for: tight end Mark Andrews having a historically good season and Hollywood Brown having a solid year as well. Those guys make up for about half to more than half of the total passing offense. If you look at the number of receptions relative to the total number of team receptions, same with yards and touchdowns. They got 15 of the 21 touchdowns Baltimore scored through the air this season. So those are the top two guys, of course, to watch out for. Brown with the speed, Andrews with his seam ability and some of the scrambles type stuff. He's pretty tough to cover. Rookie Rashad Bateman has done a good job for them as well. He got hurt at the start of the year, didn't play for the first 6 weeks or so, but has 44 catches and has kind of carved out a good, solid niche role as a slot guy, number three outlet on this team. But I mentioned earlier the passing game has changed for Baltimore with Huntley at quarterback. It's been more rhythmic, more quick passing game, more the three-step game. And so you're seeing Bateman get involved in some of those slants and yak opportunities. And so, I would probably say that's been the biggest difference with Huntley at quarterback is a shorter, more rhythmic passing game. You look at the yards per attempt, Lamar's at 7.5, Huntley's at 6.0. And so that's kind of indicative. And you watch a tape and you kind of see the same thing. So trying to jump that quick game, tackling the catch, those will be important factors in this game. For the Ravens defense, and they've had a lot of injuries. Their defense has not played well this year. They're 20th in points per game. They were number two last year, but the front seven to me is still pretty stout overall. They're one of the better run defenses in football. They're top three, top five in a lot of metrics and most rushing metrics. And so obviously Pittsburgh's coming off a lot of success against the Browns, rushing for 190 yards, 188 by Najee Harris. But I think the Ravens are just a very gap sound team, and they know Pittsburgh's scheme, and so it's always going to be tough to run on those guys. They spill runs well. They force running backs to run laterally instead of getting downhill. And so just Pittsburgh taking care of their own business and Najee trying to finish runs and getting that yards after contact that he did so well in that first meeting. But they got some good players. Patrick Queen's playing some good football for them. I think he's come on strong after a rough start to this season. I know in coverage there's still some question marks about him, but run defense, shooting gaps, that's going to be, an issue. Can he create some of the negative plays? Pittsburgh on first down has been just horrific this season. They're 4.2 yards per play on first down. That's 31st in football, only point 0.1 yards ahead of Houston. And they had 2.4 yards per play even in the win against the Browns last week. Pittsburgh did, and so their first down offense has just been really poor throughout the entire season. That's kind of the lack of big plays and explosive runs and those kinds of things. That'll be tough to do against the Ravens. The big weakness here is going to be the Ravens secondary. They've been just hit so hard by injuries. No Peters, no Humphrey, no Deshaun Elliott at safety. They've really lost some key pieces, and so I think it's forced them to play a lot more passive and softer zone coverage. They could be a man up team and play cover zero and cover one, and just let their corners man up and win. And you can't. You can do that when you got Humphrey and Peters. You can't do that when you got whoever they even have at corner right now. Even some of their backup guys, Anthony Everett, for example, aren't going to play in this game. So they're still blitzing at a decent rate, and you kind of thought with a secondary that's really hampered by injuries, they might blitz less. I don't have exact data on that, so maybe the numbers come down a little bit. But Wink Martindale to me is one of the best third down DCs in football with all the chaos and bluffs and sim pressures and overloads that he's going to throw at you. So of course, you always want to stay out of third and long as an offense. No team goes into a game saying, let's be in third and seven. But I think it'll be even more imperative against a Ravens team that is probably at its most comfortable whenever they're in third and long and they can really kind of get creative and exotic with their looks and rotations and stuff like that. But certainly, you need the Steelers receivers to step up and win this week. They did not do that against the Browns. It's very good news that Deontay Johnson's returning in this game coming off the COVID list. That was a unexpected and pleasant surprise. But you need those guys to win their one-on-one matchups against some cornerbacks that have struggled on a pass defense that has been among the worst in football. They're allowing 8.2 yards per attempt. No team's allowing more 20-yard completions than Baltimore. I think it's 73 on the season. And so, hopefully you can win vertically, but Pittsburgh has not had a great vertical passing attack this season. So overall, my prediction in this one, and I made this prediction Friday on the Terrible Podcast, so I'm going to stick with it. I was working at the time under the assumption that Deontay Johnson was not going to play, so him coming back is obviously good news for Pittsburgh. But this offensive line still in some question, especially left tackle Dan Moore is going to be out. It does look a bit better. Trey Turner's going to play at right guard, so that'll help. I don't know exactly how they're going to shift the offensive line. Will Joe Haig just replace Dan Moore at left tackle? Will they shift a core for over to left tackle and play Banner or even Haig at right tackle? But overall, I'm going to go Baltimore in this one, 23-20. I just, I know that secondary for the Ravens is so beat up, but the Steelers' passing game has been just so non-threatening this season. If they showed more of a passing game, you would probably give Pittsburgh the edge in this one. And I think the Ravens are still doing a good job with Huntley. And I still worry about the Pittsburgh Steelers' run defense and just handling some of the different looks that the Baltimore is going to give you with a still a pretty good running threat, a quarterback in Tyler Huntley. So if Pittsburgh can make plays in the passing game, I think they will win this one, but I just haven't seen it enough. And so, again, my X factors in this game on Steelers Depot were Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. I think those guys will define this game and define how the Steelers end their season. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Will the Steelers win this game? Will they make the playoffs? Again, to make the postseason, Pittsburgh will have to win. Jacksonville, who are 15.5 point dogs to the Colts, will have to upset Indy. And on Sunday Night Football, the Chargers and Raiders cannot tie. If all those three things happen, Pittsburgh will make the playoffs as the seventh seed. If not, their season will end Sunday afternoon in Baltimore. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe if you have not done so already. Appreciate you guys listening, and we'll talk to you soon.